The Steelcase Gesture is Steelcase's highest tier chair. This chair was released 10 years ago. It was super well received, super well loved, and it's because of its excellent build quality and because of its unparalleled arm customization adjustability. I mean, this is seriously the best armrest on the market. Now, buying one of these things new is extremely expensive, starting around $1,400 US. But you can actually find a lot of older used Steelcase Gestures out there for a fraction of the price, and that's what this video is about. How do you buy the best possible used Steelcase Gesture? And to do that, we're gonna break the video down into 3 parts. The first are gonna be breaking down its features, so you know exactly what to test for when you go look at the chair. The second is gonna be the price range you can expect to pay for a used Gesture. And the third is going to be other things that you should look for in a used Steelcase Gesture so that you don't bring it home and it turns out to be a lemon. Now, I say we're because joining me in this video is David Crandall from Crandall Office Furniture. This guy is amazing. I love this guy. He's been refurbishing Steelcase chairs for the past 20 years, and he actually joined me in a previous video called How to Buy a Steelcase Elite V2. If you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and link it up here or up there. I forget which side it comes out on. This video is not sponsored, but David Crandall is volunteering his time and his expertise on all things used Steelcase Gesture, so I'm going to give him and his company a quick plug. Now, if you want to take the guesswork out of buying a used Steelcase chair, any used Steelcase chair, not just the Gesture, or you don't want to deal with used chairs that have got stains, body odors, booty juices, then you really got to check out Crandall Office. Again, I love these guys, respect what they do so much. They sell 2 types of Steelcase chairs. The first is going to be their factory authorized return, which is what this chair is here. It basically means someone bought a chair from Steelcase, decided they didn't like it, returned it within their return window, and so they resell that. And this is basically a brand new chair at a fraction of the cost of what you would pay for a brand new one. If you want an even bigger discount, well, then you can get the remanufactured chairs. A remanufactured chair is where they went out and they bought a used Gesture, and then they took it through their lengthy process to sanitize, deodorize, replace all the broken parts, cushioning, and all that stuff. And again, they sell it at a massive discount. Now, the cherry on top for both of these types of chairs is that they offer their 12-year warranty on the entire chair. They've got excellent customer service. They've been around in business for 20 years, so they're super reliable. And you guys can check out all their links, their store, and you can get an even bigger discount by using my coupon codes. All of that will be down in the description below. When it comes to the features and functions under the chair, all Steelcase Gestures are exactly the same, making buying a used Steelcase Gesture a much simpler process compared to buying a used Herman Miller Aeron. So all the adjustments are found on the right side under the chair. You're gonna get 2 knobs, one in the front and one in the back. Let's start with the rear knob. So on the inside of the knob, you're gonna get a ring, and that ring is gonna have this rigid kind of feel to it, and you're gonna be able to spin it, and you get a total of 4 clicks. So when it's all the way down, it's gonna lock your chair in an upright position, and then with each click, you're gonna be able to tilt down further and further. So you wanna check to make sure that each of those clicks is allowing you to go a little bit further and further back inside of the chair. With the chair totally relaxed back here, you're gonna take the outside knob and this thing spins and twists. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And this is gonna be your back tilt tension. If you turn it to the right, about 5 times, you should feel a significant difference between how easily you're able to tilt back in the chair. So this is me, after turning it 5 times, you can see it's a lot harder to tilt back. Now if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see that I'm able to tilt back really easily. So that's your back tilt tension. Now, the front knob here, this is gonna do 2 things as well. So let's start again with the inner ring. The inner ring here is there's gonna be a tab in front, and that's gonna be just your height adjustment. You just wanna make sure that cylinder feels good and that you're going up and down fairly smoothly. Now, the outside ring here, this is gonna adjust the seat pan depth in and out. And here's a really important thing. This thing, when you turn it, it should be able to adjust the seat while you're sitting in it. And I'm not a light guy. I'm about 175 pounds. And even when I spin it, you can see I'm putting my full weight on the chair. And you can see I'm not sitting up at all. I'm sitting straight down on the chair. You can see that the seat pan is able to adjust even while I'm putting my full weight on the chair bottom. So you want to test all those, make sure they're all working properly. Let me know your best used find in the comments down below. It doesn't have to be a chair, it could be anything. And of course, like the video, get subscribed. Using my links in the description also really helps this channel so much. I earn a small commission, which helps keep this channel going. I really love and appreciate you all. Thank you so much. As you move up the chair, there are a couple of optional upgrades, but honestly, because most of these chairs came out of office buildings, they're all gonna be like 99% identical. All right, starting with the arms, you basically get 2 options: no arms or the fully upgradable, crazy adjustable arms. And what you should look for in these arms is essentially this. When you hit it like this, it will move a tiny bit, right? When you just grabbing it and swiveling it, it's pretty easy to do, but when you hit it, it shouldn't like fly to the other side. So you wanna make sure that there's a little bit of tension here. And then when you click to adjust the arm's height, it should move nice and smoothly, and you should be able to move these around nice and easy. Now, when it comes to the actual arms themselves, these should be able to slide forward and back with a good amount of tension. You see that I can't do it one-handed, right? So I have to hold the arm in order to make it slide back and forth, and they should be able to swivel in a few clicks left and right, just like that. And that's it for the armrest. When it comes to the backrest, there is an optional lumbar pad here, and this thing can slide up and down. So if you see these two tabs and you can slide them, that means it's got the optional lumbar upgrade. It's basically a piece of plastic that sits in between the frame and the backrest of the chair. Now, something you should look for here in the lumbar pad is that these have to move together. If you're able to move one down while the other one stays up, there's a good chance that that is a cracked lumbar pad, and that's something that you should note to the seller to get yourself a discount. And this thing is fairly easy to replace as well, so get that heavy discount, buy a replacement part, and you should be able to do that, no problem. Now, a super rare upgrade, optional upgrade you might see on a chair, and again, this is super rare, is a gesture with a headrest. Now, most offices, they didn't buy gestures with headrests. So if you see a headrest, it probably means it's somebody's personal chair. And if you get one with it, or if you find one with a headrest, these are the things you should look for. So the headrest, it should be able to move, like click up and down fairly easily. It's not that difficult. By the way, Steelcase Gesture's headrest is probably, I would say, top 5 best headrest of all the chairs that I've tested. I've tested probably about 70, 80 chairs at this point. So it's not super hard to do, but it's not super easy. It's not like falling down and up. And then you should be able to swivel it down and up and get a huge range. As a matter of fact, if I put it all the way up and I turn it, it should be able to turn all the way around. And this is so that when you're sitting in it, it's not really tickling the back of your head. So that's what the headrest should look like. And even when you turn it, there should be a good amount of tension. I can do it with one hand, but it's a little bit creaky, so I prefer to do it with two. The next optional upgrade is purely aesthetic. It has no functional difference whatsoever, and it's called the shell back. This one does not have the shell back. This one has the standard wrap back. Wrap back means that the same fabric and cushion that's on the front extends to the back top rest of the chair. A shell back, on the other hand, would have this entire, you see how it's a black plastic shell here? It would extend all the way to the top of the chair as well. Again, merely aesthetic. Right now on Steelcase's website, that's like a $25 upgrade. It's got nothing to do with functionality. The final option that you should look out for is going to be fabric types. And for this, I'm going to hand it over to David Crandall. David, can you teach us a little bit about the used Steelcase Gestures fabrics that people will find?
Yeah, so when we're looking at fabrics, we look at the OEM Steelcase fabrics. We're primarily going to see Cogent Connect, Era, and Billiard are the 3 primaries that you can buy on the Steelcase store today. Cogent Connect is going to be a knitted fabric. It's going to be a little bit softer and more breathable. Era is going to be a traditional woven fabric that's going to have a little bit more coarseness to it. That is something more similar to what you'd know as a seating fabric. And then Billiard is going to be a much softer. It's actually kind of named a Billiard because it resembles the felt that you have on a billiards table. And so those are going to be the 3 primaries. When we compare those to, so when we remanufacture a gesture chair, we're actually going to pull that old fabric off and replace it with brand new. So our fabric options, so if we're going to compare, so we've got BioKnit, Open House, and then we've got a few different vinyls, but our BioKnit line is going to be much more similar to Cogent Connect than anything else. They're both knitted fabrics, have a kind of similar hand feel to them. And then our Open House line is going to be a traditional woven fabric, more similar to Era. So you're going to have that kind of similar feel. It's actually very similar to Buzz 2 as well, which is not a fabric we see a ton from Steelcase today. But outside of those, you're going to start seeing, Steelcase offers a very high-end, almost off leather. It's a very nice leather. We're actually going to be offering a brand new leather option here in the very near future on our remanufactured, all of our remanufactured chairs, but the Gesture as well. Those are going to be kind of the general options that you have available, both from Steelcase as well as from us.
Are there any warning signs that you should look for when it comes to the fabric on these used Gestures?
One of the things that we do see, especially when we're looking at used chairs, is a lot of people like to sit with one leg tucked underneath the other, which causes premature wear towards the front edge on one side of the seat. That's the most common thing that we do see. Like I said, all of these use very high-end fabrics with high-end durability ratings. So, but you're going to look for specific things like that where it might cause the fabric to fail prematurely. Obviously, also looking for any kind of stains or anything like that. But as a general rule, these are all very high-quality fabrics that are going to last a good long time.
What should you expect to pay for a used Gesture? I've seen the price range from about $400 to $600, but I cannot figure out why there's a $200 price discrepancy. You see, unlike a Herman Miller Aeron, where with every optional upgrade you can tack on about $50, these Gestures, again, 99% of them are identical. They all have the arms, they all have the lumbar, they all have the wrap back, and so I'm like looking at these and I'm like, why is it $200 more? I have no idea. And here's the really important part, is that Steelcase's warranty will not transfer to secondhand users. So just because you have one that's 5 years old and one that's 6 years old, doesn't mean you get more warranty. They're both, you know, SOL. You don't get any warranty out of them. So something to really keep in mind when you see someone trying to charge you $600 for their Gesture versus $400. Now, if you find one with a headrest, I've seen those go for about the price of $1,000. And the reason why they're that price is because unlike these other Gestures that don't have a headrest, those Gestures were with the headrest was probably somebody's personal chair, which meant that it didn't get used and abused by a bunch of random office workers in an office space. So what are some other things you should look out for when buying a used Steelcase Gesture? I'm gonna give one overall tip, and then I'm gonna hand it over to David Crandall to provide his expertise on the Steelcase Gesture. So the overall tip is gonna be, more and more I've seen sellers try to jack up the prices on their chairs and say they're gonna provide you 12-year warranty, etc., etc. I would say please, please, please be cautious about these claims. I'm not saying that they're not real. What I'm saying is if they don't have an established website, if they don't have a business card with something more than just their phone number, please be careful, because they could be upcharging their chairs, claiming they're gonna give you warranty, but then you might not ever be able to find them again, or they might go out of business. So if whoever you're buying from, make sure that they're an established business. So with that, I'm gonna hand it over to David Crandall. David, any other suggestions for things they should look out for, common areas of broken parts on the Steelcase Gesture that people should know about?
When we're looking at used Gestures in the market, what we've seen, it is a newer chair, so you know, it's about 10 years old since it's been released, but we haven't seen a whole lot of major failure points on the Gesture chair or anything that's specific. If I were to say there is one thing you definitely want to check, it's going to be all of the seat functions. Make sure that that seat roller is working properly. That's probably the most common failure that we do see, is if that mechanism gets hit in any sort of meaningful way, it can either destroy or break teeth on that gear that has that rolling mechanism within the seat slider. So make sure you check that, make sure all of that's working properly. We haven't really seen any major issues with any of the arms or any of the other components. If you're buying a Gesture with a headrest, make sure that the motion of it is good and tight, not too loose. These can loosen up over time, or again, if there is an impact damage, it can loosen up that headrest, so make sure that that's not broken. Also, everybody is built a little bit differently, and chairs are a very unique thing, so it's very difficult to tell whether a chair is really going to be right for you just by sitting in it for a few minutes. So when you're going to these used furniture stores or meeting somebody on Marketplace to test out a chair, just know that that might be, it might feel good for you when you first sit in the chair, and after you get into the chair and use it for hours, it might not be the chair for you, and that's okay, but know that in certain circumstances you might not be able to return that chair if it's not right for you. And that's why we do offer a free return policy on all of our Steelcase chairs, both remanufactured as well as Steelcase authorized factory returns. So if you're in the market for any of those chairs, please check us out, CrandallOffice.com. We're always here.
So let's say somebody wants to buy the newest used Gesture. How would they check for the date on these chairs?
The quickest and easiest way to check for a date on the chairs is to flip the chair upside down, and underneath the seat is going to be a sticker from the manufacturer that's going to give you a date, actually a very specific date as to when that chair was made. So that's going to be the quickest and easiest way. But without that sticker, it's going to be very difficult to age the chair without really taking it apart and looking for dates on components after removing everything from the chair.
Hey David, thank you so much for volunteering your time and your expertise on these chairs. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for having me on. It's always a pleasure. It's great seeing you.
I hope you found this video helpful. Happy hunting. If you don't want to hunt, links and coupons to Crandall Office will be in the description below. Huge shout out to them again for helping with this video. Until next time, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.